right, everybody, we are back once again with our Cabral HouseCalls. Appreciate you joining me here today on the show. Just like yesterday, we're going to answer 5 or so of our community's questions. Love being able to open up this document, which I just did right now. And I see our first question of the day is from Brian. I will let you know if you're new to the show, of course, we don't provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, medical diagnosis, but what we hope to do is provide something hopefully even better. And that's help you find the underlying root cause as to what is ailing you, helping you understand that there's always an answer. It usually has to do with something your body is missing. We call those deficiencies, or has too much of, and we call those toxicities. And what I want to do is rely on the 25 years since the year 2000 that I've been in clinical practice, helping clients do all things wellness, weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging, high performance health. So let's dive right in. Let's get started. First question from Brian. Brian says, hi, Dr. C. A couple weeks ago, I noticed a skin rash running up the side of my back and on both sides of my lower abdomen. I chalked it up as a fluke and it went away for a while. Until this morning, I figured out the culprit. Seems to be my portable steam sauna, which I have in my room. I've been using a steam sauna for years and never had this happen before. Wish I could upload a photo, but is there anything you could recommend for this kind of problem? It doesn't hurt. The skin just feels warm and looks red. Could it be rosacea? Appreciate any insight. Best. Okay. Again, I can't provide any type of diagnosis or treatment plan, but probably not rosacea on the back and both sides of your lower abdomen. It comes with a sauna, so most likely not psoriasis or eczema. Some type of histamine-based response, cytokine-based response is most likely the likely culprit. Could be sweating out salt, could be sweating out metal, something like that could be affecting you, or there could be something in the water where you're getting the steam on your body and your body's having a reaction. So there's multiple reasons here. If you really narrowed it down to the steam sauna, see if you can get a different water source, see if you can get filtered water to pump in. That's one of the issues with steam that I've been talking about for years, is that one of the big reasons I always recommend sauna over steam is that unless you have your water filtered, you're breathing in the chlorine vapors, the fluoride vapors, and everything else in that water, like lead, which I know a lot of people say, well, there's no real lead in the water. Well, a lot of people have lead pipes after it leaves the water treatment facility where it's tested for lead and it's low, it goes through lead pipes, right? And so it's not tested when it gets to your house. So I don't know. Could be something in the water. Could be a new moisturizer you might be using. Could be an increase in histamines, and we'd have to look for that underlying root cause. So as always, and I always recommend the Big 5, and if you can't afford the Big 5, I totally get it. You can run the starter kit. That's going to look for a lot of imbalances with vitamins and minerals, gut health, and heavy metals. So it's a great first place to start with that starter kit, and that's like a quarter of the price of the Big 5. Of course, it comes with a coaching call, and it comes with a personalized wellness plan, which is ultimately what's the most important. But again, I want you to find what works for you. Maybe you just start with the 21-day functional medicine detox, and you can find that at stephencabral.com/detox. Okay. And then a great product for histamines is called Hist Pro. Everything I talk about here today will be at stephencabral.com/shop. That just takes you over to Ecolife. All right, Andy's up next. Hey, any idea how to cure eye floaters? I haven't seen any protocols on how to cure them. All right. So I don't know if you're new to the show, Andy, or you've been around for a while. Either way, I'm always happy to help. We've talked about floaters on the show. You can always just use the search bar at stephencabral.com/podcasts. Just type in the search bar, type in floaters. Excuse me. You'll be able to find it there. Remember, don't use the word cure. You don't want to use the word cure. Totally get it. You can if you want, but we don't like to use it. Here's why. You want to find the underlying root cause. The underlying root cause for floaters is often inflammation, imbalance in minerals, and high levels of stress. Those are the 3 main issues we see for people with floaters. Floaters come on in a period or preceding time of weeks to months of extreme stress. That then can pull calcium into the bloodstream, which seems to also affect floaters in the eyes. Magnesium, like full spectrum magnesium, oftentimes helps to balance that. Inflammation can be high as well. Omega-3s, healthy dose of vitamin D3, and it's called daily vision eye support, can be really helpful for antioxidants as well. All right. So that's my first place of starting. But of course, if there's high stress, how can we work on that naturally to work on that high stress? And if you're over exercising with high stress and over fasting, that could be why you're getting those floaters as well. Deanna is up next. Thank you for your informative podcast and for sharing your expertise. My 2-year-old son has been diagnosed with food protein-induced enterocolitis syndrome. Got it. And I'm seeking guidance on potential triggers or the best approach to testing and managing this condition. For some context, he also has IgE-mediated food allergies to peanuts, certain tree nuts, and eggs, and eczema, so I thought the gut would be a first place to start. I would greatly appreciate any advice or recommendations you may have. Thanks in advance for your help. Okay, totally get it. Yeah, so the FPIES, the food protein-induced enterocolitis syndrome, to my knowledge, these are food-based allergies, IgE-mediated, just like you spoke about, and there is a violent reaction to them. Vomiting, diarrhea typically. And so what we typically do, and again, I can't give medical advice, we remove the triggers, and you seem to have found many of those. Peanuts, certain nuts, eggs, very common, right? So what are the main ones we see? Dairy, eggs, gluten, and certain nuts. We talk about that, really all the time because it's true. That's why in clinical practice, it's so helpful to be able to see so many clients because we get to share those things with others as well. So the nice thing is this, the eczema will start to clear up first, and then the gut will be able to, you'll start to see it further down in the immune system, but the eczema will, believe it or not, it will clear first. So if the eczema is not going away, most likely there is continued exposure to a food sensitivity in like 9 out of 10 cases that we see. And in that one other case, it's still usually food, right? It's just like, it's looking at food and what else, right? So we look at that, what else? Maybe it's a topical cream that's being used, maybe, something like that, shampoos, conditioners, those types of things as well. So 2 years old, we don't start our children's CBO protocol yet. That starts at 3 years old. Oftentimes we begin to look at specific probiotics though, like the clean gut probiotic that can help to push out any harmful pathogenic bacteria. And then we're also, again, removing the sensitivities that are these particular foods, making sure the child's getting enough good vitamin D, of course, enough hydration, all of those items as well before we begin protocols around 3 years old. All right, Deanna? Hopefully that's a good place to start. But again, food sensitivity removal is the biggest help for this. It has to be for at least 6 months. That is when these immune cells start to get a little quieter. They start to not have the same sensitivity. And it also gives time for the gut to begin to become de-inflamed. Other things that are worth looking into for you would be, that could be okay, again, you have to look into it, would be like aloe vera as well for the gut. All right, Lena is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for taking the time to answer the community questions. Very much appreciate this gift. Thank you, Lena. My daughter is 8 years old, and I found a couple of gray hairs in her head. Root to tip, what could this be? Oh, yeah, this is interesting. So we've seen a bunch of kids in our practice who've come in with this condition. I will let you know that in the majority of the cases, it is a nutrient deficiency. It is low in iron, low in B12, low in copper and or zinc. And then the last one, I'm jogging my memory right now because, again, I don't look at the questions ahead of time or take notes. What is that last one that I'm looking for? Thyroid function. So anything that has to do with the thyroid, which is obviously selenium, B vitamins, but iron, and all of those are part of the thyroid as well. So your daughter's 8 years old. They could definitely do 1 capsule to maybe 2 of the daily activated multi, or depending on their weight, a half a scoop to maybe 3/4 scoop of the daily nutritional support. And they could do 1 balanced zinc with dinner, at least for 12 weeks. They could certainly do that, 8 to 12 weeks. And then if we don't supplement with iron for non-menstruating women, unless we get those iron levels tested. I've got a whole podcast just on what iron levels to request, but basically you want to run at least a total iron binding capacity, plus a saturation rate, plus a ferritin and transferritin level. So that's what you request from the doctor. For that, or they can run also a complete blood count. And if you see MCV, MCT, MCHC, means corporal hematocrit. Yes. If you see any one of those high or low, it can also mean this functional anemia as well. All right. It's usually not autoimmune, which causes the whole head of hair to go gray. That's not most likely what's going on here. But again, I can't give you diagnosis. Usually it's this mineral and or thyroid-based issue. All right. All right. And again, you could run the starter kit for your child as well. That's what I run with my daughters to look at vitamin and mineral levels. Let's get another question in. This one's from Anonymous. And Anonymous says, in the last 2 years, I've been through all the protocols. Labs are looking good. Continually working on stress reduction. I sleep well, move a lot, eat healthy, diet with lots of grass-fed, grass-finished beef from our ranch, dark greens, try to eat the rainbow. I'm taking cardio, vision, cell boost, multis, omega-3, balanced zinc, magnesium. I keep constantly get lightheaded every time I move too fast, winded easily, yawn a lot. After your episode on low iron, I just ran my labs on my iron, 29, ferritin was 3, iron saturation 7%. Hematocrit, got it, are all really low. Well, there we go. Okay. I'm not sure what else what could be causing these low levels. I've struggled for many years. Yeah, it literally could just be low iron. And I didn't set this up at all between Lena and Anonymous. They just two, people from the world in our community, and they wrote in back to back. It literally could be iron. So if you didn't say that you're taking the daily nutritional support or daily activated multi. So that would be important. If you said that, then I could easily narrow it down to iron, but you didn't say that. So when someone's levels, their complete blood count is off, it could be, it's not usually vitamin C, but it could be vitamin C, could be zinc, copper, could be magnesium, could be B12, folate, or even B6. So what takes care of all of those? Daily nutritional support or daily activated multi. That's it. So like 2 at breakfast, 2 at lunch, or 2 scoops a day of the daily nutritional support. It literally takes care of all your nutrition except iron. And that is because we cannot supplement every human with iron. You can get some from food, of course, your dark greens, your beef, all that, but you might not be absorbing it as well. And it doesn't seem that you are, right? So what can help with the iron? Vitamin C. You take vitamin C with your iron. So you would just use your full spectrum vitamin C, or you could use whatever vitamin C you like. That will help. And then that's going to help tremendously. You can take your vitamin D3 with it as well, because you just take it in the morning, and that would be great. So that might be what you need. Again, I can't give you medical-based advice, but if you're low across the board, alkaline phos means zinc as well, so that doesn't mean iron. So I don't know. It seems like you're a little bit low. Again, balanced zinc is great to do, but the balanced zinc is meant to do on top of the daily nutritional support. The daily nutritional support is your cornerstone. If you don't like to use a powder, totally get it. That's what the daily activated multi is for. That is the first and foremost. Like literally, that provides all the nutrients that your body needs. So you can eat as healthy as you want, and I definitely recommend it. And literally, you have a ranch. It's amazing. But I've done the studies. I've looked at it. I've used Chronometer. I've used all the things to track people. They're not getting 100% of everything they need. Sure, you can get maybe 100% of the RDA, but is that what you need? If you're an active individual like you are, you need more. So I don't like to use mega dosing of anything, but the daily nutritional support or daily activated multi, then you use your specialty, and you're doing so many great things. At the end of the day, you just might need another 25, 50 milligrams of iron, and you can get that through a lot of great quality forms of iron, a ferrous succinate or different forms of ferrous iron you can easily get. And I would look into that. All right. Thank you, Anonymous, for writing in. And that's a nice one. Like you'll be able to fix that, and you'll have so much more energy. So much more energy because you're missing that one nutrient. I'm telling you right now, I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's always an underlying root cause. Sometimes it's easy as just saying, oh, ran the labs, I'm low on iron. It literally can be that for so many people, but others, it's a little bit more complex, and that's okay too. But everybody can be helped. It really can. Remember, a healthy body can't be sick. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining the show here today. I thank you. I appreciate you. And of course, we'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.